On to right, wrong, and really.
I want to start with the right because I was right about Matt Nagy just absolutely sucking. I mean, we've gone over this for, 10 minutes on this podcast already, but he's horrible. Fire him. The Chicago Bears have never fired a coach midseason. Make it the first time. We'll all love you for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my right is Urban Meyer doesn't know what he's doing. He was not prepared to take this job. He did not. It's very evident that he had no idea what NFL football entailed. We all thought it before the season. We thought, man, he's never lost really anywhere that he's gone. Like, what's he going to do? He's on a bad team. He's coaching a bad team. So, like, how is he going to respond to, getting his butt kicked and having to go in the next day? And you can't just, poof, everything's going to be better. And they haven't. The Jaguars stink as a football team. And although they have the talent to win football games, they just don't have the coaching. They should not have lost that game on Sunday. They should not have.
No, they
were up 19-10 in the third quarter, and they allowed, 3 straight touchdowns? Like, come on. What are you doing?
Urban Meyer, James Robinson the ball.
Urban Meyer is going to be out of in NFL football very shortly.
Hopefully. I love how you're wearing the Jags jersey while you're talking
I
about
am.
this too.
Because I love the Jags, but not him.
Honestly, I feel like Urban Meyer figured out how to be a worse version of Chip Kelly in the NFL. And
yeah,
like,
he didn't have a plan.
Chip Kelly at least tried. And
he had a plan.
He had a plan, and it didn't work, but he tried, and it was interesting. I was actually one of the people who was like, let's hear the man out. And it didn't work, but I tried.
Exactly.
Well, if we're all doing our rights, you guys were a lot less gloaty because I just feel like I wanted to ask everybody a question out there, all of our possums out there. The first time I've ever referred to you guys as possums because I don't like that. But how you guys feeling about Kyle Pitts? All the truthers, how you guys feeling? Nope, not so good. 10 points, one game with 10 points so far. And if you're a half point, that's 0 10-point games. I don't know. You could have drafted yourself a rookie tight end, at the 4th and 5th round, whenever everyone other than 12 people told you not to. Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Gronkowski, Goddard have been better at this point. I mean, Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Logan Thomas, Tanyan on occasion. I mean, I'm not that excited about Tanyan either. But I mean, obviously we know Atlanta hasn't used anyone correctly at all, except for somehow Cordell Patterson, which I don't get it, but it's working. This is what Cordell Patterson wanted to be on the Bears, but Nagy couldn't figure it out. So.
That offensive coordinator that's from the Bears. That's the only reason.
But I just want the record to state, because Billy was giving me shit about this. I never said Kyle Pitts isn't talented or isn't going to be good. I'm just saying that 4th, 5th round, maybe even 3rd or 2nd, if you really reached, or you got him in dynasty in the 4th pick or something. You can't be feeling that good about it right now. It's got to be.
Are ahead.
I'm sure, and this might be the week.
I got my defense ready, but I have him in my really category, so I'm going to save it.
This might be the week, but so far you're not happy about that because that 10-6 and 4 is not looking so good. You probably lost some games because of that 20 that you're expecting.
For sure. I think probably Kittle owners probably feel similar, but
Kittle at least had 17 points in the game.
He did.
That's true.
That's true.
If he doesn't do it against Washington, then I'm going to start panicking. But
I'm not panicking on Kittle, though, because really San Francisco hasn't had a chance to play their full offense. I mean, their whole running back fiasco has been a problem. And I feel like once Jeff Wilson comes back, they're going to at least have their steady back, which once again, go pick up Jeff Wilson if he's available in your league.
Do it.
We'll see. Okay, let's get on to the wrongs. Joe, who are you wrong about this week?
This leads in really good to my wrongs because this is more of a season thing. I was wrong on DJ Moore and Cooper Kupp. I wouldn't say I avoided them. I wasn't down on them in any way, but in that area, I mean, I took a lot of Ayuk, which is proving to be kind of stupid. I took a lot of Hawkinson. Do it.
So it looked better this past week, but
it was.
He caught a touchdown. Don't give him that yet.
He was out there a lot. He was
targeted 5 or 6 times. It's more.
It's Friday days are ahead, but I mean, I was taking Hawkinson there. At the end of the season, I was grabbing Javonte Williams in that spot. Swift was slipping there right in the 5th, 6th round where you were getting Kupp and DJ Moore. These two dudes look like league winners, and I do not have them anywhere. So it's really upsetting for me watching those dudes just tear up. I'm glad to see it. I mean, Cup, I've always liked him. I've always liked DJ Moore, but I don't have them anywhere, so I was completely wrong on them. I should have at least taken them somewhere, but
all right, to be fair and to defend you here and myself as well as a non-DJ Moore owner at all, anyone who's owned DJ Moore before didn't get this. And nobody expected this with Sam Darnold there either. Right. So anyone who drafted DJ Moore, they did it out of, okay, I'll draft DJ Moore. No one was like, I got to get DJ Moore in the 4th. That's my target. You know what I mean? Like, people got him because he fell there and it was like, okay, it seems like the right pick. Yeah. Nobody was like targeting him. I'm sure there's someone out there on Twitter, in Twitter land, that was like, I was targeting him. I knew, but you didn't. You didn't. No. And Cup, on the other hand, he's been one of those guys that like has been super like okay and has his good games. He's more like a Julian Edelman consistency guy. And this year, him and Stafford's breakfast eating is just
who would have thought?
They're eating together. Crazy. Why did they tell us that week 1 though? Like,
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, tell us that in freaking April or something. Whenever they start,
I actually do stock in
whenever eating. Yeah, I know. I traded them to you. Probably for peanuts at this point. I don't even remember what the trade was. Okay, my wrong was Jonathan Taylor. I thought he was going to be probably like fighting to be the running back 1 this year, and that has not happened at all. And it stinks. It's partly game script, I'll give you that, but it's partially because they just don't use him as a pass catching back. Nyheim Hines comes in and runs, and he catches the ball out of the backfield when they're down. And I just Carson Wentz had never done that. He doesn't use pass catching backs appropriately. So
he didn't know how to throw to Miles Sanders, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, without saying it, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But like Jonathan Taylor he's good at that, and he needs to be in there. He's the better player than Nyheim Hines. I get that you gave him the contract, and it was confusing at the time when they did, because you're like, well, they have a really good RB1 on their team. Why would they need to lock him down to like a 4-year contract? Now I'm seeing why. It's because they plan to use him a lot more than I thought going into the season, and I feel bad for anybody who bought Jonathan Taylor first round, probably, because he's not a first round running back. And I am puzzled at why they aren't using him that way. They're 0-3. Might want to change it up at some point.
I want to try it. Wentz isn't the answer.
This goes back to the Andy Reid coaching tree, not knowing how to use running backs. Jonathan Taylor needs to be fed. Like, give him the ball. But I do agree with Billy that top 10 running back, like if you grabbed him as your first round pick, and if you grabbed someone shitty on that second round, or like Calvin Ridley right now, you're panicking.
Yes, that's
you're losing. You're 0-3 if you have Jonathan Taylor and Calvin Ridley. I would dare someone.
I have Kamara and
show
Calvin
me a
Ridley,
team.
And I'm 0-3. So.
I want somebody to show me a team that has Jonathan Taylor and Calvin Ridley and is 3-0 or 2-1.
Well, if they snag Cup or DJ Moore, I mean, shit.
Yeah, but it's not because of them though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they
could have grab
lucky.
Cup and DJ Moore to take care of that.
Yeah, or Mike Williams. You could have got him in the 10th round, but still, like you would have had
Mike Williams doesn't belong in the NFL.
Yeah, we're seeing that.
Yeah,
we thought that guy was crazy for saying that he was going to be Michael Thomas this season, and he's done exactly what Michael Thomas does.
Yep.
It's bizarre.
No, I was lower on Jonathan Taylor than you guys were going into this, and I did not see Nyheim Hines. The news on Nyheim Hines, they wouldn't stop talking about him. I thought Mac was going to be more involved, honestly. Yeah. I thought it was going to be – it's crazy to me that they're really only using 2 guys, and they're using Nyheim Hines more than Jonathan Taylor. That just blows my mind.
I assumed Jonathan Taylor to be, and this is what he was last year, was the 15 to 17 guy. He was just consistent, is what it was. He wasn't a big blow up guy. That's why I knew he wasn't a top 10 running back, but I just knew that consistency is hard to find in running backs. Like I saw him as a, lightweight Nick Chubb, basically. Yeah. Like he's always going to get that consistency, but this year it's been few and far between. But honestly, Phillip Rivers kept them in games. Carson Wentz isn't keeping them in games, so Jonathan Taylor's not getting the carries.
That's the problem. Is the Colts suck, and
they haven't even played good teams. Right?
Yeah, exactly. The Colts are headed down a dark path, much like your Eagles, Josh. If you've seen their upcoming schedule,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
we'll
Colts
talk
are headed down a dark path, and I feel bad because I don't think Jonathan Taylor. I don't think the usage is going to go back to being good because they were in a close game with Tennessee. It came down to 1 point, and they still weren't using him that much. So Like,
Now-
you know, if they're not using them in close games, they're definitely not going to use them when they're coming back from behind and stuff. So
I do
whatever.
think as the weather
wrong.
cools off and it starts getting colder,
Oh,
I
here
think
we go.
that's when you're going to start seeing the Jonathan Taylor.
Don't they play
more.
in a dome in Indianapolis?
They
though?
do, but I mean, they'll be traveling.
They don't
and
always
stuff.
play there.
That's
Yeah.
true. Okay. Well,
I mean,
hey.
I think that's when you're going to start
Hey,
seeing them
good.
rely
Thank
on
you for
Taylor
making
more.
me seem like better days ahead. I'm just saying
Yeah.
for now I've been wrong.
I-
Josh,
so-
who are you wrong about? Who are you wrong about?
So I just wanted to touch on this Jonathan Taylor thing. I agree with Joe. I think they're gonna over the season they're gonna use him a little bit more. Naheem Hines has been shit panicking. Like we got to get some points fast, and it's the Andy Reid coaching tree thinking get the yards now instead of actually play the full game. So I just don't panic on Jonathan Taylor. Don't sell him for cheap. If you did draft him, you got to wait it out. You drafted him this high. Don't panic yet. So my wrong, and honestly, you already touched on Jamar Chase. You were wrong about him. I was wrong about him. It can wait. We'll talk about it later. But after watching the Monday Night Football game, I just want to talk about what I was wrong about. I was wrong about the Eagles defense. I didn't think they were going to be great. I thought they'd be like a middle of the pack defense. Like after watching them against Atlanta and even San Francisco, like they look good. But I assume maybe some regression when Brandon Graham went out. But I did not expect that. Zeke and Pollard averaged almost 6 yards per carry, and they both had about 20 carries. So it was 6 yards every time they touched the ball. And it wasn't even like it was 20 yards here, 40 yards there. It was basically about 6-7 yards every time they touched the ball. I still believe the pass defense is a bit improved, but I'm probably wrong about that too. So I'm wrong about the Eagles defense. I thought that with the additions of Eric Wilson and Kerrigan and Steve Nelson that we would be better. We're not. It's sad. Apparently we can't stop the run, and we got some fun games coming up for that.
Yeah, your schedule does not look good coming up. So, all right, Joe. What was your really?
Chase Claypool. Really, dude? Really? I don't understand it. You've got all the talent in the world. You look good. I mean, everyone was hurt in that game. I know. I mean, Big Ben, how many times did you throw it? 63 times. Of course, Najee got 20 of those, but
pretty awesome.
Yeah, he cannot be the guy. He cannot get it done. He makes these unbelievable plays, and then he does this bonehead shit on super easy throws. Little slants, drops the ball, gets out of position. He's not in sync with Big Ben at all. I mean, a lot of people thought this dude was going to jump to wide receiver one. I just don't see any wide receiver one potential in him right now. Now, maybe next year when they get a different quarterback, or say they sign somebody and relieve Big Ben, maybe. But as of right now, Claypool is really starting to piss me off. And really, dude, come on. Really?
Yeah, well said. I thought Claypool was. I mean, the problem is Big Ben is old. Like that's the problem.
Did you see that clip of him running and
Yes.
just falling over as he threw the ball?
Yes, he looked like the old man at a pickup game.
Yeah. I mean, Deontay Johnson still does it. Juju still makes it work somehow.
Juju's actually looked really good this year, except for
look who led the team in receptions on Sunday. That tells you everything. That's all you need to know. It's a honestly, dump off back. He's using Najee Harris, who was not known as a pass catching back in college, as a dump off back. What the hell? Like,
I mean, it's not like it didn't work.
I love it.
Put Big Ben on the Bears. Just let him dump off to David Montgomery the entire game. Their offense would be better.
Can we touch on this now? Why the hell didn't Pittsburgh draft a quarterback, or haven't picked up a quarterback? Or
I think they legitimately thought that he was better than like the end of that season. I think that he thought he was closer to the like 9-0, 10-0 Steelers.
I mean, they did go 11-0. I mean, I get it.
I get it, but like it wasn't because of him. It was because of the defense. And
you can still win with Ben. They did nothing for that line. Absolutely zero. I mean, you had Mitchell Schwartz was out there forever. You had all these free agent offensive linemen. You didn't bring one of them in to try to. I mean, you knew it was going to be bad after last season.
I mean, they got arguably a top 5 skill position group there. Like,
easily.
Shouldn't be that bad, but
it shouldn't.
Here we are. Okay, I'll move on to my really. My really is kind of piggybacking off of Josh. Kyle Pitts. Really? Atlanta? Like, really? You have Calvin Ridley. You have apparently Cordell Patterson. You have Kyle Pitts. You've got Matt Ryan. Like, how is your offense this bad? How? It doesn't make any sense that it's this bad. It shouldn't be. I know that the head coach wants to be a running team. You don't have a running back to do that with. I'm sorry. There's just nothing on this team that's going to get you there. So you're going to have to use your pass catchers. And the second best one on the team is Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has run the fourth most routes among tight ends, like passing. Guess what? He doesn't get targeted on them. So I don't understand what Kyle. I don't know why they drafted him. They're not using him like they drafted him. When you draft him number 4, you need to use him like a top pick. They're not using it. I would say it's just slightly worse than the Giants with Kadarius Toney and what they've done with him. It's slightly worse than that.
It's got to be worse than Toney because Toney was a backup pick. Like, oh yeah, I guess we'll draft.
Yeah, but he's still a first-round pick, and they don't even play him. But this is almost as bad when they drafted him number 4 overall, and they simply like the best offensive output they've had the entire season. Kyle Pitts was the leading receiver on the team. The other 2 games where they looked like they didn't even know how to throw a football, Kyle Pitts gets targeted 3 times the last game, and he caught 2 of them for like 35 yards.
Honestly, I don't know what happened to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has never been this bad before.
What is I need to watch a Falcons game and see what the fuck is happening on that team. Is it the line? Like, is it?
I think it's
it
Arthur
can't be
Smith.
The routes. Like, yeah, it definitely is the fact that they want to be running.
He's got Calvin Ridley running AJ Brown's routes, like literally. Let's get that little dump off and expect Calvin Ridley, little dude, to freaking bust out these big AJ Brown runs. It's not going to happen.
No.
You know, you don't have Derrick Henry. You don't have anyone else out there. So, I mean, I've watched a little bit of the Falcons. They're boring, so I tend not to watch them. But where are the deep balls? That's where Ridley ate everybody's lunch last year, was on those 30, 40-yard passes, and then Pitts would have the middle wide open, but they do nothing to clear that out. It's ridiculous.
Why do we know this and he doesn't? I
have a thing about that as well. Why do I know about you should give the running back the ball 12 times at least in a game, like 15 times?
I don't know. I feel dumb because it's like, I'm sure it's like, well, there's so much more to the game. You never put your hand in the dirt, but like, it can't be that hard. It cannot be that hard to notice things. I don't know. Maybe it's something I'm completely missing, but you drafted him number 4. He's exactly what you need to do in certain to that offense, but then you're not using him. So it's like, why? And I'm not going to lie. The guy that's the Bears, he was like the quarterback's coach or whatever. He's in there. I think this might have a little bit to do with him too. I'm not positive about that.
Who is it? Dave Vergone?
I think so. I can't
remember. Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but
yeah,
I have a feeling that's why this looks so bad. I have just a suspicion. Cordell Patterson looks like the most competent player on that team. That should not be anybody's team should not have Cordell Patterson looking like the best player on the team.
I am happy to see Cordell Patterson being used.
I'm happy for him. It's just
for him.
You have Calvin Ridley on your team, and Cordell Patterson's leading the team in receptions and points as a fantasy player this last week. The hell is that? No, whatever.
All
right, Josh.
Let's talk about what's supposed to be a better team. My really is the New England Patriots. Do you feel comfortable about cutting Cam Newton now? Because I don't think you do. I think Mac has been okay, but definitely not great. I understand that that's the future and the weirdness of Cam not being vaccinated and Cam being a distraction or whatever, even though he was like a cheerleader on the sideline when Mac Jones threw a touchdown in the preseason, which, that's fine. But you have to think that they could easily be 2-1 or 3-0 if Cam was starting right now. I get it. Damian Harris fumbled that one to give you that one loss. So there's 2, I just think that Mac Jones has looked like a rookie, like someone who could have sat behind Cam Newton for 2 weeks and, maybe like learned something and saw the actual games. Cause last week I will say he got some yards and whatnot, but the first 2 weeks and just his play calling in general, or his decision-making, I should say, just it wasn't there. I obviously I'm a Cam Newton homer, but really, like, was Mac ready for the starting job? Wasn't he? Would you have felt comfortable if Cam was there, or at least had a backup plan? Because you're 1-2 right now, and about to be 1-3, because Brady's about to just come in there and just wreck you, and it's not even going to be close. I don't know why everyone keeps talking about like they're going to say this is America's game of the week just because Brady will get his 32nd team beat of the league. But this isn't going to be a good game. Like, nobody, honestly, I'm scared to play fantasy players in it. Like I don't want to watch this game other than seeing Brady play the Patriots. Like he's gonna make Belichick look silly. Belichick's probably gonna cry a little bit, probably leave the game. I don't know. Like I get it, you're rebuilding and whatnot, but like why the fuck didn't you just keep Cam? Like you could have just had him sit on the bench and like in the corner away from everyone, so he didn't actually have any contact tracing problems if that's what you're worried about. But like cutting him, you have no backup plan right now.
But Mac Jones completed 19 passes in a row in a practice one time, so against the Giants.
And it was literally 1 week that they were like, oh shit, Mac Jones is ready. It wasn't like, oh, he's looked good this whole time. It was like Cam got COVID and they were like, oh shit, well, let's see what Mac's got. It's like, oh, he looks good. Let's keep him. Fuck Cam. Like, it was like, why not just keep them both?
Well, I think we're learning why you can't buy an offense. They bought Jonnu Smith. They bought Hunter Henry. They bought all of those wide receivers. None of them are great. Like, they're all good players, but they're not great for this offense and not what they need.
Honestly, a lot of hate on Jonnu and Henry. If that was one guy, they're fucking killing it.
Yeah, but the problem is people were saying they were going to be Gronk and Hernandez.
They were never Gronk or Hernandez, though.
People said that.
And they don't have Brady throwing the ball, so they were never going to be them. But
that's what they were
in general. They're working. Henry and Jonnu are actually working. Mac's not, and the wide receivers aren't. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's not the tight ends. The tight ends are the only bright spot.
Wide receivers were always going to be an issue because they're the reason that all of those guys were available right now.
That's
just you paid them a lot of money.
Exactly.
I like what they did, but they did pay them a lot of money. Bourne, Aguilar, and Jacoby Meyer that's a respectable group. It's not great, but like they did pay them way too much money is the problem.
Just combine their salaries and give that offer to Juju, and he would have came to Foxborough.
Why
you would have had a number one?
Why didn't I get Juju? I think Juju wants a better contract, so it came down to he played like.
Why didn't they pay Galladay? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Why is Galladay on the Giants?
As a Galladay owner, believe me, I don't think they even fully know that he's on the Giants.
We'll get into this later. I got some comments on him.
By the way, just a note with the Patriots, though, Jacoby Myers, this poor son of a bitch, he has broken the record for most receptions straight without a touchdown. And I just feel bad for him because I'm sure, like he probably has like a one of those days since thing in his locker, and he's just like checking off every game as like not getting a touchdown. And yeah, he's got 104 career receptions, 0 touchdowns.